What's going on, people? Welcome to an opposition preview. The international break is finally over and it's all focused on Palace. I'm joined by Conrad from Black Cats TV to get all the insight ahead of the game. Make sure to check them out. The link will be in the description down below. And most importantly, get involved. Let us know your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Conrad, thank you for coming on. I was talking to you on your channel, talking about Sunderland and even, many years ago now. I can't remember the last time you was in the Premier League. But I remember facing Sunderland in the Premier League and you had a decent squad. And one thing went wrong, I guess, where you got relegated, but now you're back up to the Premier League. But how would you sum up your last couple of seasons, or even stretching back to maybe the last 5 years or so?
Yeah, it's 8. We're at 8. So, yeah, last time Premier League was 2017. I think one of our final wins, probably a dark day for Crystal Palace when you had Sam Allardyce, but we turned up at Selhurst Park and we won 4-0 when we were bottom of the league in January or February. And everyone thought, oh, wow, we've turned over. This is going to be great. And then we just didn't win again for the rest of the season and fell not through one division, fell through 2 and had to stay there for 4 years. And thankfully, the new owner has come in and he's brought in someone who's sort of had a bit of a project about how we do things on a budget, and it's worked an absolute treat. And we, out of League One, 3 years in the Championship, and then up a year ahead of schedule. And with that financial saving, if you want to call that, I think the most money we spent over the past few seasons was 3 million on a player. And then this season, as you've likely seen, we've been throwing around cash like nobody's business and like dropping 20 mil here, 30 mil there, 15s over here, and rebuilt an entire team. So it's it's obviously great. And we've had some absolute great memories along the way and some terrible ones. And the likes of Will Grigg and Charlie Wyke sort of darken the sort of the thoughts. But no, it's really nice to be back and not be so far a whipping boy of the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, look, even before the season started, I think everyone was looking at Sunderland, and as you mentioned, with the transfers, that was one of the key elements. You spent a lot of money. You brought in Premier League experienced players as well. What was your thoughts on the transfer business? Because some teams, they do go out and spend and create a new team, and it takes a while for the chemistry to build. But was you concerned about anything like that happening with Sunderland, with the amount of players that you brought in, or was you happy with the business?
I don't know. It seemed like, because it just happened so quickly. Normally, we're very late people in the transfer window. We're always like August last week or the deadline day for a few signings. But it seemed like everything was done in like June and July, and it was like, wow, we've come straight out of it. We knew of like Adingra. We knew we wanted him last season, but we got him this season. Xhaka was the one that completely caught us off guard because we thought, it'll be Henderson coming back for like one last hurrah in a Sunderland shirt, and they sort of went, no, we can do 3 years younger and, another Premier League, experienced midfielder. And we were like, oh, wow, okay, like this is great. And then you're pulling players out of like La Liga's best team of the season. You're pulling out some of these young up-and-comers, which tends to be our model, but paying, quite a lot for them. So it fits in with the model, but also it sort of evolved a little bit. But I wouldn't say there was panic. We all sort of, not like we've been in a position before where we spent money on like 10 million on Jack Rodwell and look how that turned out. 8 million on Dillabodji from Chelsea when he'd been relegated on the team he was on loan at the previous season. And we're like, what? Like, there's just not spending it wisely. But it just seemed like they were like, we've done our research. We know what profile of players we want. And they just went for it straight out the gate. Like, you've got Diarra and Siddiqui through the door. And then it was right wingers. We've got Talby. We've got Adingra. And we'll make Enzo permanent. And then it was back line. Right, what do we need now? We need 2 centre-backs. And then we'll get whoever else is out there. So then Reinildo from Atletico Madrid on a free. Masuaku on a free as well. So as a backup Premier League experience, whatever you want to call it. Just, yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been the best transfer window I've ever lived through, and I'm really happy with it. Like, I don't even even if it all goes wrong, it's like, what an August this was. It was great.
Yeah, and I think it's smart business as well because, as we mentioned, some of those players already, they've been playing in the Premier League, so it's not like you're just buying in Europe with no Premier League experience. You bought, I think you've done a combination of stuff, buying young players and buying proven, experienced players as well. And your start of the season, if you're looking at it, it's been very good. Beat West Ham 2-0. Beat is a nice word to use because you absolutely thrashed them.
Yeah.
And you also got a win against Brentford. So has the new players adjusted quickly?
Yeah, it seems so. They've bedded in like there's no, nobody's business. Like the first game, because again we've been used to League One level of football for so long. The players came on and were doing just all these turns and movements through spaces and transitions through the lines, and the crowd was really weird because it was almost a bit like everyone was making, and I'm going to say it, like orgasmic noises because we hadn't seen this before. We were like, what, you don't just hoof it forward and someone runs after it? Like what? Like it was just unbelievable. And then, like you say, when the fixtures came out, we couldn't have probably asked for a better 3 opening games of, a sort of down the bottom West Ham normally. Burnley, who came up with us, who we took 4 points off of last season, didn't go so well this season. And then Brentford, who have had their team kind of ripped apart and are now an untested manager. And you were like, well, actually, these are the ones that we're going to have to try and target now. And like I say, we thrashed West Ham, but as I said on Archon, who hasn't? No, it just feels like everybody, apart from Forest, apart from Forest, everybody's had a go. Burnley, we sort of got it wrong. I think we didn't expect them to sit in at home, which they did, and then they just hit us on the counter twice, which was a bit annoying because that's exactly what we're trying to do to teams as well, to take points. And then the Brentford game, it had a bit of, this is our first experience of VAR apart from the final. We had a goal disallowed for offside, and then sort of put it up on the screen and his knee was half offside. Then they had a penalty for holding, which is apparently a thing this season. And then we got a penalty for holding because he had to even it up. And then we won it in the last minute. And then they were like, is that going to be offside? And we thought, full circle. I've celebrated it like an idiot, and now it could be disallowed. And it thankfully was given. So I nearly got caught out by VAR celebration on my first goal.
Oh, it's happened to us a lot. Yeah, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it.
I just suddenly, even though there'd been like 4 VAR checks for the game, I was up and down like, yes, we've won. Isidore scored, and then it went VAR, and I went, no, I'm going to be that guy. Like I've done it.
Yeah. But in terms of, you said something very interesting. In terms of your playing style, is it better for teams to attack you and the spacing behind? Because you did mention that you lost to Burnley due to them sitting in. So what's that like so far this season? Is it just West Ham attacking you and also Brentford trying to get at you? And is that why you won those games?
Brentford were definitely better at it. It's probably the best way of saying it, and actually scored and caused us problems. West Ham, I don't know, like first half, it was a very sort of end-to-end, very cagey game. They had Bowen went through and forced a save from the keeper. Then Diarra went through for us and saved from the keeper. And then there was, a chance cleared off the line by Ballard. We had a header just over. And it was like, all right, we're going sort of toe for toe. This feels all right. And then second half, West Ham just didn't come out, basically. Like, just offered absolutely nothing. So I don't really know what happened to West Ham in the second half, because first half felt like this is an even contest, maybe a 1-0 game. Like that's going to be it. And then we got one, they fell apart. We got a second really quickly, and then the third was a counter right at the end anyway. But Brentford were more than deserving of a point, and a point would have been completely fair result. But yeah, the Burnley one is a sort of thing where we've had it for years, especially being in League One, where we thought we should be higher up the table and pushing on for the league title, where teams would just come and just, right, that's it, 5-4-1 or 4-5-1, whatever you want to do it on there, and then just hit it long, and we'll just bully their defenders against them. And we just could never break it down. And it's a problem still to this day that we don't tend to do well against teams that will sit in and hit us back. But we got really good at it last season. I don't know if you saw the playoff semi-finals against Coventry, where everyone was like, you've not won there in 45 years, that you've not beaten them in however long. They beat you 3-0 like 4 weeks ago. Basically, Nanite, see you next season in the Championship. And we just turned up and gave this defensive display. And hit them twice on the counter. And then at our place, everyone went, well, you've got to attack them. And we were like, no, we're quite happy for you to have the ball and you have to move around us. But every time we get it, bang, we'll go and we'll move together, which is basically what Diarra has been brought in for this season, and Adingra and Talby, to make sure that once the ball is turned over and won back, it's fire, straight forward, just go straight at them. And it's worked so far, shall we say. I don't want to give it away if Glasner's watching, though. Like that's not what we're going to do.
But it's funny because we like to hit teams on a counter as well. And I can see Palace having men behind the ball because it's worked, and that's how we do it. You come onto us and then hopefully we win the ball and hit you on a transition. So the fact that you're saying that was an issue against Burnley might be exciting for a few Palace fans to hear. But in terms of your strengths, then, what have you been good at so far this season? Is it attacking the numbers, possession? What type of style of football can we expect from Sunderland?
Well, I mean, the thing that I've highlighted the most, and it might be where I sit, is we're defensively, and the word isn't how I'm going to mean it here, defensively horrible. Like Alderete, who we've bought, and Nordi Mukhele, who we've got bought as well, are really horrible players. Like they're digging heels in on people, they're giving people a nudge every time. And, we're, again, it's not that it's illegal or anything, we're not used to it, but it's this little dark arts of them. And the same with Reinildo, but he comes from Simeone's school of Atletico Madrid, so we know what to expect there. Jacques is a really intelligent player, so again, he feeds off of it as well. I think it's just been our intelligence, if you want to call it that, really, and just how we play. But the big thing that the manager keeps talking about is our togetherness as a team and how we will, everything's about. So Roof saves a penalty the other day and like every player's all around him. So I'm like, yes, right, we've got it. And everyone's up at the crowd going, because it's what we're going to need to do. Attacking wise, we've not created loads. I think we've probably got the lowest XG. I think I saw a stat saying the other day it's like 1.27. Yet we've scored 5, this season. We don't make many clear-cut chances, but we're doing all right. I think it was only Arsenal that were ahead of us by like a couple of, 0 points, basically. We don't create many, but I think when we do, I don't really like XG anyway, but when we do, we actually get something out of it.
Clinical, yeah. And that's the most important thing. I mean, Glasner's emphasized that as well in terms of, taking your chances when you get them, which is good. But are you concerned about that going forward? Is it more about do you believe you got enough creative players in your side to create chances and it's just early stages? Is that the reason why?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of the team getting used to each other. And so we came up, both strikers are the strikers we had last season in Eliza Mayenda and Wilson Isidore. But we've just bought in Brobby from Ajax, who looks an absolute unit up top, and I'm hoping he's going to be, a bit of like I said before about the horrible defenders. I'm hoping he's going to be a horrible striker to play against for people. He looks solid, like a bit like Mateta. When you see him, and you're just like, you're like, I'm not looking forward to playing him. Then we've got in Adingra, who saying he's been in for 2 games out for the last one, and then Enzo Lefebvre just came in and was very creative against Brentford, but sort of had to drop deep a bit more to pick up the ball. But he was the one who scored the penalty, and also the one that Xhaka played in to give him the ball back to whip the cross in. So Enzo's just come into it, but he's a very clever player. It's not concerning me yet, but that's probably because we've got 6 points out of 9. When and if the points start to dry up and we hit maybe a sort of troublesome spell, which there will be, I'm not living in a fantasy land that this is going to carry on forever. That'll be when it's like we need to have someone who's going to do something. And hopefully Traore, who we got from Ajax as well, is good at that. I think he had a season a few years ago at Villa where he got like 14, 15 assists. I don't think he's quite hit those heights since, but it was only 2 million. Let's give it a go. And same with Talby and Adingra and Enzo. We just got to hope they can create. Yeah.
In terms of Palace, from a neutral perspective, what have you made of us in the last, year or so under Oliver Glasner? Of course, we won the FA Cup and the Community Shield as well. But have you been surprised by it? Because it's normally the big teams that always end up winning these competitions, especially the traditional Big Six. But Glasner's kind of broke that down.
He has,
which is rare.
I really enjoyed your FA Cup win because it really took the shine off of whoever won the Carabao Cup last season. I couldn't tell you who that was. It really took the
I can
shine off
imagine.
of that. Yeah. So that was really nice actually. And then obviously when Liverpool are like, look at how much money we spent, and then you've beat them in the Community Shield as well. It's been great. There was a point last season, I think you said, where he didn't win in the first 9, where it looked like, hang on, was that like a honeymoon spell when he took over the year before? And is it going back to that? But he just seemed to tweak something and got it right. I've really enjoyed watching your battles with Man City and how Glasner was just like, I think there was a game where I might be wrong, you were 3-0 up. And
and we ended up losing.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it was 3.
2 or 3, I think
It was 2, and we ended up losing 5-2.
Yeah, and I think he came out after the game and sort of said, that's really good because I've seen it now and that'll never happen to us again. And it was just like this. And then you beat them in the FA Cup because he sort of like, because we did a little bit of that last season where played Coventry away and lost 3-0 and then beat them in the playoffs. And a lot of fans were like, it's embarrassing doing this. But we were 3-0 down and we were awful. And the manager just didn't change anything. And he was just, no, we're letting them run through. They could have scored 4, 5, 6. It could have got, really bad. But it was almost like, is he sitting there and leaving us out like this? One, so it hurts because we know it, it's going to be. But almost, I'm not willing to show my hand of how I'm going to change this. I've seen what I need to see for when it matters if we get them in the playoffs. And lo and behold, we did get them in the playoffs. But I've really enjoyed watching Palace there as well. And I watched your game against Villa and I was thinking, Villa, really good side. They've had a bit of a struggle this season, but you just turned up and just annihilated them. They were not the same.
That tends to happen against Villa, not in a cocky way, but we managed to beat them in the FA Cup semi-final 3-0. We beat them.
You did, actually. I forgot that, yeah.
Oliver Glasner somehow,
got his number.
Must hate facing him. He must hate facing him. I think we beat them, was it 5-0 at home? Yeah, we've had some crazy results against Villa. It's like, I think the score is 19-2 on aggregate in the last 4 or 5 games or something.
God, they hate playing you then.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the good thing about Glasner is that he's kind of proven himself for us. Well, not kind of. He's our greatest ever manager. Which might sound crazy, but what do you mean? But he is.
Yeah, absolutely is. I mean, we still hark back to the days of Peter Reid being our greatest ever manager because we finished 7th twice. Like, at least you've won 2 trophies in this spell,
And what you mentioned about togetherness, that's what Glasner emphasizes on as well. And I think it's very important. Nowadays, everyone talks about tactics, or is this play good enough? Is that play good enough? But sometimes it's a bit more than tactics. It's about making sure the camp is all together in this. And that's the biggest thing about Palace. The manager says it and you can see it. And as you said there, even after that penalty save, you saw it. It's not about just talk. I know every manager says, we need to be together. We are together. They all say it, but not every team out there shows it. And the fact that your team is showing it as well, I think that's a very important step for you to be successful this season, which goes sometimes under the radar when tactics and individuals get spoken about a lot. But let's talk about score predictions then. What are you expecting? I can't remember the last time Sunderland came down to Selhurst Park.
I can.
Oh, yeah. Now you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it. I actually forgot, and there's a very good reason why we forgot about that game because I think it was a 4-0 at home, and the players got booed off the pitch. It was under Sam Allardyce. It was one of the worst home games out there. Like, genuinely.
It was 4-0 at half time. I think we got 2 in added on time in the first half. And Allardyce had only not long been in post. And of course, he was our manager the previous season when he left us for England. So there was a little bit of we like Allardyce. So had he done us a favour technically and sort of gone, here you go, try and get yourself going. But it was a great day at the office for us, but a terrible one for you. And it really summed up the fact that after that game, Hughes went on to do all right. And we didn't win another match until May. So it was one of those, it was an anomaly that day. It wasn't a sort of way the season had been going or anything like that. It was just a mad day, really.
You didn't expect anything similar?
I'd love it. The thing is, in that game, I remember watching it. We were 4-0 up at half time. You could have won 6-4 in the second half. You were that much better than us. It just, it was just.
I forgot about the second. I literally, the first half got my head so hot. I think some people ended up leaving at half time. I was still there. But I just remember the only things I remember from that game is the first half was absolutely terrible, one of the worst performances I've seen. And then after the game, apparently Allardyce kept the players in for like an hour and a half in the dressing room talking to them. That's the only things I remember because it was a terrible start.
It was a shocker. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you expecting then?
I mean, I'm not expecting that, but I didn't expect that at the time either. I don't know. I think we'll be very sort of cautious in how we're not going to try and throw too many people forward, because I think he's quite smart in the fact that he'll have seen that's kind of what you want from us. I think we'll have to sort of pick and choose our moments, which might play into the fact of the XG that I'm talking about, that we don't get many chances, but if we do, we'll be clinical with them. I'm hoping, I'm going with my heart and saying I think a 1-1, just because I don't think we're going to turn up and win. We're still a newly promoted side, finding our feet with 14 new additions. I'm not going to go there and go, oh, we're going to win and we're going to smash. Yeah. I think 1-1. I would bite your hand off for a draw. We'll just have to see, I guess.
Yeah, look, I assume this season all you care about is staying up. Which, exactly. That, and every point, man. So you've had a fantastic start to the season. Absolutely great.
There's lots of Sunderland fans who are sitting there going, well, we've won this now, so clearly we're going to be in the top 10, with the players we've got. And I'm sitting there going, just all.
It'll be amazing, but unfortunately, it never really works out like that.
No,
you can't get too carried away.
Exactly.
With your good start.
We get carried away after each result.
You can't get too downbeat. It's still early on. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be twists and dramas.
We've got AFCON as well. We've got like 9 players going.
Yeah. The biggest thing I can say is just take it game at a time.
Absolutely, and you're out we keep going. We'll get carried away on the night of the games. That's what we allow ourselves. So, you might see us ringing up like TalkSport, we've won, and go, let's get carried away. We're going to win the league, and all
you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy
absolutely.
it. As you said, you've been relegated to League One as well. So it's like it's been a long road coming back here. And I'm not saying that because you're just on the channel, but I think Sunderland have, out of all the 3 teams that got promoted, I think you've got the best chance. And this year alone, based on the Brentfords and the West Hams, even Wolves, there are teams that will be struggling. So I do genuinely feel like you got a good chance. Game at a time. That's my mentality.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's exactly as you say. Game at a time, and we just got to take each game and sort of try and get something out of each game. There's no games where you go, oh, that's a free hit. It's Man City away. No, you still got to try and do something. There's no game because. We've tried that before. We go, we rest players against Man City, and then we'll see if we can beat Bolton. And then Bolton beat us like 4-0, and you're like, well, that was stupid. Well done, So I'm enjoying the ride, whatever it holds. But I'm happy with 17th come May.
Yeah, and I think you got a decent chance. Look, all the best for the rest of the season. Apart from Saturday, of course. And also, thank you for coming on the channel. Where can they find your work?
Yeah, so myself and Mike, we're on Black Cats TV, fairly new channel, less than a year. So you might watch my preview with D, but forgive me for my hosting technique.
It was great. It was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. I mean, it's been a while since I spoke about Palace in detail. When we're talking about, because last time Palace were in the news, it's just been absolutely negative. It's been about Guehi leaving and what on earth is going on. So when we're talking about, good form, etc., I was like, you know what? When we're going into this game based on what's happening on the pitch.
Oh, yeah, there's no need to be negative about, well, he could have gone and he could have. It's about, right, who we're going to play on Saturday. That's what matters. Who's going to be there and who's going to play the game. So, Black Cats TV, if you wouldn't mind giving us a subscribe and a like, it would really help us out.
Yeah. Make sure to check them out. I've done my opposition preview for their channel speaking about Palace. If you have enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe, and let us know your score predictions in the comment section down below. And until next time, up the Palace.